is, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Whoever did that. Is that Sophie? Probably Sophie.
Hi, dog. Yes, it's me.
Hi. Thank you, Sophie. Appreciate it. So, hey, hi, everybody. This is the Global Chamber weekly real estate meeting. We were just chatting how early this is. This is, I think, maybe the first one we've done at 7 a.m. Pacific time, hopefully to incorporate the folks from Europe and Middle East and Africa. Not so great for Asia, unless you're a late person, and we do have some of those within Global Chamber. So hopefully that works for almost everybody in the world. We also, Ellen, I think what you've done here is, and Ellen Shu is, and Jim Huang are here. They have been running this event, and so I'm going to turn it over to the two of you. But thank you for your leadership. Thank you for structuring it so that we've got, what, 3 or 4 weeks, and then the final week of the month it's at 5:30 Pacific, so it captures the morning time the next day in Asia. So thank you for thinking about the world. Thank you for your knowledge about real estate. Thank you for putting together the October 5th event in Vancouver, which I'm sure you'll talk about. And back to you, Ellen, Jim, and I think, Jim, you were introducing Brandon.
Yes, Brandon, if you don't mind, because I like a lot of new people to introduce themselves as we build our real estate community. Brandon, do you mind introducing and where you're from? There you go, Brandon.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can.
Sorry, I'm actually on the road. It might be difficult if I do want to talk, but I'm excited to be part of the meeting.
Brandon, it's hard hearing from you right now.
What's at the moment?
Well, we'll move on until maybe Brandon gets to a better location.
I just mentioned Brandon, I believe, is the global advisor for Global Chamber in Mombasa, Kenya. And so he may be in a bad area. So hopefully he'll continue to be available, and you can talk to him later, Jim. Sorry for the inconvenience.
No, and it's great talking to people around the world, because also on that part, I was talking to one of our, I think, executive directors from Morocco that wanted to be on. So, having this being set up, it really is really advantageous, because Global Chamber has such a great network of people. And then just organizing all of us, because as we were talking before at our leadership meeting, real estate kind of touches upon everything else. And having everyone connect to really share their wins and testimonial of really this large, incredible network is just really important. But Doug, I would like to ask, because one thing we were waiting for, and I'd love to talk about and share the technology, because that's the big thing that we wanted to do, is to make sure everyone starts, getting the referrals, getting really interlocked into Global Chamber with the amount of people, and maybe some of the updates that you shared, because we're not at 535. We're much bigger. So can you give some updates now that you've been running about the stats of Global Chamber, but also a little bit about Globy, because I know we were all waiting for Globy, and it's finally here and launched, and how we can utilize it a little more to get to know each other.
Great. And part of, I think, what's inspiring Jim to ask is he is kind and intelligent and global and unstoppable. He's on our global council for Global Chamber. And so yesterday we had our quarterly meetup with Dr. Sanjeev Kagram, who is the board chair, and Jim zoomed in, and we did talk about that the chapter growth has been happening. Certain Mombasa, actually, for whatever reason, hadn't been on our radar screen, should have been. That's one of the new chapters. When we went back and added the chapters up, we're now at 605. And so I knew we were more than 525, and I just kind of didn't want to address it, or I was just too busy, and I didn't think it's like, it's just another number. But then in the board meeting, actually, I think I got a little bit admonished by several people saying, this is a big deal. You should be talking about this. You should be celebrating. And that's bad on me. I think I'm one of those kind of people who are just heads down, get the work done, and don't celebrate enough. And Cesar Trabanco of Global Chamber is a leader who continually reminds me that sometimes you need to celebrate. So when we did go back through, the 525 is going to change to 605. It's a little bit actually like 607 or something like that, but just to have a good number. For some reason, 605 feels better. Don't want to do 666 at any point. So I'm a little bit of a numbers guy. I try to avoid 4, like the number 8, and I like the number 5, and I guess 13, of course. So I definitely try to keep it a good number. So if anybody has a good number around 605, kind of in the we could always do 600 too as a number, but we will be announcing that in the next few weeks. The other thing that maybe is even more significant is Globy. And so Globy is an AI tool that we developed. And when I say we developed, one of our executive directors, Colin Christie, who's brilliant. He, like me, is a chemical engineer, but he's taken it to the next level. And he's also a programmer. And not only is programs and puts together apps and applications like he's done for us, but he has the vision and the knowledge about AI, perhaps the most knowledgeable expert on AI in the Philippines, and not just knowledgeable, but actually applying it. So it's been an amazing adventure, Jim, over the last few months, speaking with Colin as he's put this together. A couple months ago, he had it developed and we've been using it internally. And so now we're moving it to the next phase to roll it out to members. And so we just did get 2 more, I guess 3 more interns from Thunderbird School of Global Management who joined Global Chamber, and we've devoted 2 of them onto this project with Cesar to get this rolled out to members, with the goal to have members do 2 main things with Globy. Number 1, find people to connect with on their own. And so we have a whole scenario and methodology around that. So Globy already does that. We just need to get the databases in there. I was excited to see last night when we met, it actually is also reviewing LinkedIn and getting information. So we're putting information into our system, and we're putting a new operating system in. And as part of that, we're putting the data in, and it accesses external sources. And last night, LinkedIn was put in there. And so it was really exciting to see. And so I can't commit to any time frame. I know it'll be this year. I'd love it to be in October. I think it's reasonable to assume they would be going to members in October, but there is no specific timeline. That is one of the action items, Jim, that Cesar and the team are putting together with Colin, and so they're devoted to that. So number 1 is connections. Number 2 is events. We do many hundreds of events. And if you're involved with this group, the real estate group, you probably wouldn't necessarily be interested in exporting, and you might not be interested in an in-person meeting in Osaka. So there are things that are interesting for you and things that are not. So that's also going to be in Globy. So you can get delivered to you those things that are topical and regional and global relative to your own specific needs. So that's pretty easy to do. But once we have the tool in place, that'll be added as well. So looking forward to get everybody's thoughts as that gets rolled out. We have been so focused in on trade and exporting and importing, and the whole real estate has been largely on the peripheral of Global Chamber. So I'd like to thank Ellen, you, and Jim, of course, for your leadership and your knowledge in this space, because as you've said many times, and I totally believe, that real estate is in the center of so much that's going on in foreign direct investment and business activity around the world. And the fact that we have been interacting on the business side, interacting on the economic development side, hopefully will bring value to the commercial real estate community as part of Global Chamber and as part of the work that we're doing here today. So you mentioned, Jim, earlier about your daughter and having to get to her school. I think we saw her pop in there for a second.
She was just cold. So because it's changing in seasons right now, as Ellen knows, as we go further north, and instead of the warm, hot days, now it's starting to get cold. So she just said, "It's kind of cold, Daddy." And I said, "Well, let's get you another jacket on." So
very cool. Well, great to see her, and great to have your leadership guide us. Did you have any questions, or did I leave anything out?
It's really letting the big thing is always updates that we want to let people know. Granted, we're all in the real estate part, and real estate, Doug, it goes in such a wide variety from the residential all the way to the commercial, and we even add the business brokerage, right? The services inside. So when we talk about what Global Chamber does have, which is many of the economic development, that's where many of us were talking with Ellen and everyone else. There's economic development, which is research and knowledge. And I know, Aju, you and Jeff Pappas and also Raju, right? We're talking because information is key. And because there's so much boots on the ground and so much economic development individuals within Global Chamber, is to start populating that data, whether it's in Globi or a tool that we at Renaissance and our tech partners are going to start implementing, mostly for the referrals and research reports. So many people, if you're a member, right, Doug, we want to add member benefits. These meetings are free, but to really tap into the knowledge, information that Global Chamber has is to be a member. And from there, we will see a lot of research reports tapping in with our members that want to showcase. And that's really the economic development job, is to showcase why invest in our country, why invest in our city. And we want them to share and show that. So with a lot of people in real estate, we talk about where you should live, headquarters that are being built. And many of us, like when we were talking about China or India or other countries, the supply chain of building the factories. In Morocco, we were talking about food manufacturing yesterday. And I know I have actually built, or not built, but sold and modified cold storage, right? Which is very unique. And processing plants for Filipino foods when we bought a building in Los Angeles on this. So, there is a lot of parts where real estate, I think a lot of people think of it as the residential part, which is important, but it goes into the ground up construction development, readapting certain properties, rezoning certain properties. So that's why this is the fun part. As we add commercial real estate into Global Chamber, you're going to see a lot of wins, a lot of activity, a lot of parts going on. And that's why, even speaking with Rick Buss, he got really excited when we added, our connections and relationships, especially with Taiwan Semiconductors. We already know, because a lot of times before they plan on doing stuff you see in the news, the work behind the scenes has already been done a long, long time. So that's the exciting thing with the real estate part, but it's really connecting everyone, giving everyone an avenue to share and showcase their city, their country, their region, and then really getting the referrals to the right people that we trust and that we know are capable, and using LinkedIn to do the research. So that's what we hope we can put into Global Chamber. I always say you need the people, but you need the technology and the platform so everyone can interlink. But Ellen, I know you have a great event coming up involving Global Chamber and many other leaders and global leaders. Actually, you used and as you were part of it and leading in Global Chamber, some of the people to speak from Global Chamber, if you don't mind sharing, and also letting everyone know if they can make it. And I know we want more the merrier to represent everyone's trade group organization and meeting people in person. You're muted out. There you go.
Thank you so much, Jim. Can you hear me? Great. Yeah, really appreciate it. So I'll be sharing a couple of events. The first event, Yuka has reached out. There's going to be the district show, which is going to be in Europe, Barcelona. So I put in the information. It's going to be from September 30th to October 2nd. And if you need additional information, please reach out to Yuka and also to the Global Chamber of Barcelona. Then she can provide you with more information. And the discussion with her, possibly having a real estate panel online. So that's something that we'll put together. I'll have more information for that. And of course, the second event is going to be in my hometown, Vancouver, BC, Canada. And it's going to be on October 5th. And we'll have a breakfast event from 9:30 to 12:30. And it'll be at the Terminal City Club. So I'll put the information there. And for this event, it's a collaboration event between Global Chamber, Renaissance Global, CCC, and CCM Central Western Canada chapter. And so the main reason why we're hosting this event is we have a lot of international guests coming in. One of the international guests was through Global Chamber. So Ayman, he is actually the managing director for the corporate group based in UAE, and he's also the UAE's Global Chamber, I guess, director. He's in charge of the UAE and for Global Chamber, and he'll be coming to Vancouver to speak about investment opportunity in the UAE area and also present on foreign direct investment and what's happening around the world. And also we have a lot of C-suite people coming in from all over the world, from Japan, from Taiwan, and also from Turkey, various different countries, basically, and also US. And they'll also be discussing about what's happening in their country. And so it'll be a great networking event for everybody. Of course, Doug will be there and also Jim will be there. So there will be a lot of people. So if you're interested in joining us, please do so. I think you'll find it very valuable as this event is more invite only, more exclusive. So if you're interested, please join us. I'll put in information over. So I have to thank Global Chamber. I have to thank Jim. I have to thank everybody here for all your support. And if you have any questions, need any information, please reach out to me. I'll also put my emails in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. And it's exciting because we always do these calls virtually, but it's just when I meet and we see people in person. Aju, we saw Raju, when he was here with us and for the China event. And see, that was really exciting when we got to see people in person, taking some pictures, really breaking bread, having a drink, or grabbing something to eat together. We talked deeper into what we could do, what we can accomplish. Sometimes it's not always the direct what we're trying to sell or share, but it's the side conversation that really sparks and creates opportunities. And that's why we love having these consistent calls, because we are building relationship friendships. But when we meet in person, it goes to an entire different level. So we knew, because of Global Chamber, because of what we're doing in Renaissance, CCIM, CCC, these are very large organizations, and they all do something different, from vendors to agents and brokers to global players, and kind of putting them all together with Globy and then really the technology and with Scott. So Scott is going to help me as we're going to start implementing our RESAAS, RealNext, and also eMedia, so people can actually market and share what their needs and wants are. But we're going to start matching up deals and sending out referrals, Doug, as we start organizing with Global Chamber on what they're looking for and also what other people are. But I really do need to know this, as we're starting to build an intake sheet for everyone. So you guys are all first to kind of hear, really, when it comes to real estate, everyone knows location, location, location. I definitely want to know, what location are you looking for? What, let's say in the States or in the country, because right now it's going to be, I would say, mostly in the US or North America, but there will be some global outreach. I know a lot of players in the US or North America, right, do want to go to India, do want to go to China, do want to go to Europe, Africa, and other parts. Maybe not as much currently because of our infrastructure in the US, but it will be, we need to know the location of what you're looking for or what you're referring. And we'll say right now, what you're referring over. So a lot of these residential agents that we have on these platforms, I would say in the millions, would tell us what are they looking for, right? Because they could be in a different country, and most likely they are. What are you looking for? Then if you have more information, let's say like with the P&L property loss, what is it? Income statements and expense, right? So we would like to see that what kind of income, how are you running the building, what type of expenses, because these leads and referrals will be sent to an agent that is in the location, is a property specialist for what you're trying to work on, and understanding the P&L, the profit and loss, so you know what type of building. So that is what we're going to have as the basic of where it's located, what type of property, and then what's the size. Because I did tell people that if you're used to selling $1 million property, you're not going to sell usually $100 million property. That's just not in your scope. And I've known that most people, if it's not in their capability, or let's say, Aju, with Cyril, because Cyril, you have so many more agents in your organization and company. Because some people are individuals, some people are company. What we don't want is this. I can do it all, take the lead, and then give it to somebody else, right? We don't want that. We want to make sure we're passing the lead directly to the individual or company that can actually execute it. And we will have kind of a feedback star system to refine to make sure when we're sending out referrals and leads, the people are capable of executing it. And, you know, in the good spirit of Global Chamber is we do want to trust our teammates here, right? Our organization, our family, that you can do the deal and you're not taking the lead to give it to somebody else and middling it, saying, I got something, right? The daisy chain that we're all, many of us, we don't like it, right? It's just not credible. So, you know, working with this, we are going to start putting in the intake sheet of where the property is located, what the property type is, what the size of the project is, and the more details like the P&L and everything else you can put in will help you get some leads. And of course, if you could put your LinkedIn profile, which we hope to get a LinkedIn expert to help everyone fix their LinkedIn, showcase what they need, because that's where we're going to do the research. Doug, like you mentioned, we're going to start using LinkedIn from a company level and a individual or even a local franchise or a boutique level. So everyone does understand. So having these simple intake, and obviously the more, the better. With then we will send the referral over, signing the agreement, so then the two parties can talk and make sure, you know, you are a member first to get referrals with everyone, and really building this out, and then really sharing the success stories, Doug, to a point where we're going to automate this. So talking to CCC, Global Chamber, and many other trade organizations, the technology right now is manual, but later on it will be automated. And this is the fun thing too. Once you have the location and many pieces, we will know other components, especially with, as Scott's doing, asset property management, right? Facility management, very different skill set, to capital markets, because when you put the information in, many people around the world is readjusting their capital stack, which is using the money that they're borrowing or leveraging to a more useful fashion. So by taking and learning where the location is, many people can add, we can do better on the capital and the money, so we can help you build, buy, reposition your property more efficiently. Because money is not equal around the world, just to let everyone know. And we will have some capital markets people speak to us, so everyone understands, because I know there's people building luxury, especially in Miami, right? Just beautiful condos, beautiful projects that we saw. And it is really exciting what's going on, especially in America. I'll just tell you this, many people, while we're having so many conferences in the US or even North America, is because the supply chain is being changed right now. And Aju, right? Having Trump say he's going to take all outsourcing business away from India is scary, right? When people say these things, it causes nervousness around the world because he is the president. So when he says it, there's some teeth. Aju, you want to share something on that and the feeling in India?
Frankly speaking, I met up with one of the leading developers today in our city, and they were sharing a little different kind of feedback. There seems to be a sense of urgency on behalf of a lot of large multinational companies to close deals faster. There seems to be a lot of deals that are coming in. I don't know whether it is prompted by the threat of tariffs or what the case is, but the flow of leads in the last few weeks or a couple of months has been far more than usually it is. And there's a lot of push. And that push, what is happening is the rentals are going up pretty drastically. So that's what we are seeing at this point in time. If you look at some of the news that are coming out, and even companies like Amazon, I think has just signed 500,000 square feet in Chennai. It's there in the local news today. Probably all put together, Amazon must be having more than 5 million square feet of office space just in India. I'm not talking of their fulfillment centers, warehousing and all. So they seem to be on a certain trajectory and they continue to be on that. James, specifically to your question with regard to Cyril, for the time being, I will be your single point of contact. So the way we pick up our members is very clear. In our country system, there is no exclusive listings and stuff like that. So we are very choosy when it comes to picking members. We run them through multiple rounds of interviews. We do reference checks, and if possible, we share business with them upfront before making them full-fledged members. That's why if you see in 10, 11 years, Cyril has probably just about 40, 42 members at this point in time. There is no urgency to add to the membership kitty. And these are all guys who have been in their respective markets some have been there for a decade, 2 decades. Some have been there for more than 5 decades. So they're all experienced guys. So as and when opportunities come in, I will introduce the opportunity to the right person within the system and ensure that the entire thing is tied up properly.
Aju, thank you. Yeah, and see, this is the important boots on the ground that when people say they're international and global, we always love the people that are actually in the country, right? Because they can tell us what it's the feeling, what's the mood, what's the opportunity. Just like I can't tell people like in Mona, I can't tell what's going on there. I kind of know what's happening in Florida and Miami, but you definitely know. So that's the important thing with the Global Chamber and identifying, right? Anita, it's just like currency. I have no idea the level of depth of currency and moving of money, right, that you do. And see, this is the power of all of us in this group. We do different things. We are in different locations. We have specific skill sets and networks, and it really is bringing this all together. And that's why using Globi and the technology that we're going to start putting in, so there are leads and services. So Anita, when people are moving money, let's say in the capital market stack, that's great. But there's moving that money, right? Or maybe they have a way, but let me tell you, you may be able to compete and look at it. There may be a better way of moving it that they didn't know, right? Things are always changing. So it is important that we're all, without knowing sometimes the lead of where it's going, right? Because we don't want to just share other people's confidential information. But if there is things that we do see and know, we could say, Anita, they're moving from India to the US, $5 million. This is what it looks like. You don't know anything else besides that, but you will know, okay, ask the right questions of how we can move it. And this is the term and rate that they're getting currently in the structure. You could do better. Or no, that's great, because that at least gives you the warm and fuzzy that, okay, this is a good deal. And then later on, where they feel comfortable, they may even tell you the company. Or sometimes we know from China and other countries, they don't like to be kind of showcased so large, right? They like to be a little anonymous. But Anita, I mean, would you agree if we gave you certain data and information about money movement, you could tell us good, bad, the other, or something?
Well, I wish I was that all-knowing, but it wouldn't be me personally. So the whole idea is, I mean, if somebody calls and said, this is what my bank is offering, I can call one of my traders and say, what would it be for the same amount, like today? Because we know that what they're getting quoted at their bank is going to hold for the whole day, and I can get an actual at the moment rate from a trader. But I'm not the one. I know some of the, I know the techniques for hedging against rate fluctuations and such. I know it's available to them, but I'm not the one that gives the numbers. So that's one of the benefits of allowing me to connect them with the company that best serves them, because they'll get somebody they can call. You can't do that with Wise. They get somebody that's there looking out for them and saying, okay, you need to move 5 million. Do you need to move all 5 million right now? Can you do part of it now? You can lock in the rate, for 18 months if you need, or 10 months or whatever, or do a spot trade today for part of it. And then let's keep an eye on the rest, because right now it's trending down, but typically it's going to be, much more in your favor, whatever it is. They get a strategist whose job, that's what they do 8 hours a day. They're currency traders. I do marketing, so I have a superficial understanding. I know enough to know that I should never give advice. I'm not qualified. And I think that's worth its weight in gold.
And Anita, see, this is the good thing is as we put data, so a lot of companies, well, we love it and hate them, right? Technology companies, because some of the tech companies, Doug, this is what I'm working on, is buying and building and advising tech companies, Anita, with those data, right? That they start populating what the rate should be. Just a ballpark estimate. Well, but technology does some great things. I'll just tell you, because for property casualty, some things fluctuate currency very quick, right? The Forex and everything else. I was a trader too. So I did have my Series 3 back in the day. And so there's all these things that are very complicated, but when you're playing with larger dollars, right, we do want experts, we do want knowledge, as moving large monies and everything around is really important. So this is what we're doing, as many things as we are always saying guesstimates, right? Where what I'm going to do, I know in Renaissance, and I was talking to people about quotes. What are the property casualty, especially Mona, Florida, California? Oh my goodness, property casualty insurance is a nightmare. To give quotes, basic quotes, ideas. Nothing is committed until you sign, but it's within the range of what a home, industrial, ground up, what the insurance will be, certain tax reassessments, property management, as Scott, so I'm actually diving deep into the data, diving deep into what the numbers basically are. Nothing is set in stone, and things do change, Anita. That's why we want this large group to share. Do you have someone better? Do you know something better? But it's also good intel for you as a ballpark, what things are, right, currently that don't have, and currency is hard because it does change on a hourly basis. Geopolitical thing happened. The currency rates are going to change.
Second by second.
Yes.
Every second it changes. Every single second.
So that's why getting a guesstimate, right? Nothing is set in stone, and currency, maybe that was a bad example. It's quicker, but property casualty is still within a certain range. Certain things are certain range, but we are going to start sharing because of tech. And these are fairly large, well-capitalized companies that I'm talking to that are publicly traded or moving to go IPO or something. So they got good stuff, but everything is tech, as we all know, with AI. And that's is where I'm starting to put it in, obviously, with some of the companies I'm working with. So we have it for Global Chamber. And obviously not perfect or need feedback, but it will give everyone their knowledge in the industry, their knowledge of the location, so we can start putting it into the system. So Doug, that's what I wanted to share, is really the tech, because we have the people, but I do want to use Globy, use LinkedIn to know who we are, who's who, and then start putting referrals and leads, and each line item, the more you fill out with properties, the more it's going to help people identify where I should send the lead, or where we can send the lead to, and what services that people could look at. And since it's a little manual at this point, it's really looking at it, knowing, Anita, you do currency, or Mona, you do, are in Florida and Miami. It's really understanding where's where, what part of the country or world we can send leads and referrals. So that's what I want, or send it to Ruby in Ghana, right? It is important so we could start doing this. And Doug, this is what we want for our benefit for Global Chamber.
That sounds great. It's inspiring. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. The other thing that occurred to me as you were talking and you mentioned about economic development is I think we need to do proactive efforts to bring them to the table. They're in the community within Global Chamber, but we haven't proactively said, hey, you should be coming to this or that. And so as we enter the next phase, we definitely want to maybe structure it in terms of maybe regional topics or market segment topics or others, and we can do the reach out to bring the folks into the room around those topics. And so look forward to work with you on that. And also, of course, open to your suggestions of how we might approach that.
So Doug, on economic development, if there's a way as we use the technology, so people could put the research report in. I know Ellen with RESAAS, right, with the 5 big commercial real estate companies in Canada, they're already putting together research, mostly on office product. But as we explore and learn this, we're going to allow access to, let's say, economic development groups or Ruby and everyone else that has data information, like Cyril and anyone else, right? As long as it's not copywriting, stealing, we don't want to get sued by publishing it like our own. But if there's generated or it's out there, we can archive it. But a lot of government agencies, they take it from government data and they can populate. But I'd love, with the technology for different economic development groups or different groups with data information, and you don't have to give everything away because, this is sometimes their business, but many of them work for the city. They love to promote, to give them a place to put their information. So anyone in Global Chamber, as long as you're a member, could really access and retrieve economic data information. Kind of like in the US, we have our own comps listing system. And as Aju, you said, in many other countries, they don't have it. I am talking with the international MLS. Some of my friends run that and oversee it. So I'm learning. I have a call with one of my friends that got moved over there, and we're discussing how do we do it. MLS in certain countries, we have a mature marketplace, as mature as it could be in the world. But using this, because a lot of us have technology companies and technology access, is to put this together so there is a global platform. And then it's really for the country rules, laws for registration, right? Compliance and control. Like certain countries, they said, if you're the developer, you control the market, right? Because everything is no exclusives. You have to be the developer because you control it, right? The payouts and how people get paid. But it's also very chaotic because anyone could bring you that lead and try to get paid. But if we have the technology of putting property on the platform, maybe not sharing all of it, depending on what it is, but you got to sign an NDACA depending on country laws and rules. This is going to help us. And this is the big endeavor that many of us are working on right now, that global integration. And I know because of Renaissance, many of us have been friends with each other, like Ellen and Scott and other people, but now using Global Chamber that have led the real estate industry, that are friends with other global players in real estate. And now many of us have bought or own technology companies that we're webbing it together. And because we have that, we can plug it in to different systems and organizations to share the data, share the information, share the referrals, and put it in and really benefit the organizations like Global Chamber by being a member, or CCIM, Ellen. I'm talking to some of your tech people and everything about seeing what this looks like, but we are beta testing it, right, before we put it in full production. So this is in the early stage. Feedback is really, really important for all of us. But the good thing is, being the early adopters, leads and referrals will come to you so you can say, this works, this doesn't work, this is better. And we want to learn from everyone so we can make Global Chamber and the platform as useful so the world can connect together. Because Doug, I know we all care about that. And also the education, we are going to always add education, since Renaissance is about education, mentorship, service providers, and referrals. So that is what we're building with so many leaders like yourself, Doug, that set up Global Chamber, Chris Mayer, who set up CCC, many leaders or presidents of even mature companies and organizations that, you know, are plugging into commercial like the CCIM and other trade groups. This is what we're starting to use for everyone, because everyone needs this. Everyone says there's nothing to connect the world. And now with technology, there's no reason we can't. But Doug, whoever has the people, I'm never going to discount. Tech is great, but without the people, the knowledge, and the research, and the friendship, I would rather pass a deal to Aju, Mona, Anita, Ruby than other people who I don't know, right? Because at least I know I can talk to you and we can figure it out rather than I'm sending it to somebody I have no idea. But at least with LinkedIn, we can research them. But you'd rather, if all things being equal, you send it to your friends. You send it to people you trust. And that's what I love about Global Chamber, Doug. So I'll stop there, but I am excited for the future of now implementing and putting the tech, even if it's a beta test for everyone, so you can really start getting some leads, referrals, and send referrals to other people, because no one knows everyone. No one can connect with everyone.
Well, I think Mona does.
Oh, maybe. Mona might.
She knows everybody and she's connecting to everybody. Mona, you own Florida.
No, I don't. I'm in Orlando. As you were talking, James, I was a member of FIAPSI for years and years. Are you familiar with them?
Very.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
We traveled to several countries and all of that. And I believe from what I'm hearing, you're trying to do similar model and putting similar chapters everywhere.
So it's not really chapters. What we're doing is almost like Global Chamber, but really real estate related. FIAPSI leadership is in our group too, like the REITs, CCIM, SIO. I mean, pretty much everything in commercial. We are connected because my mentors have been around 50, 60 years. I mean, one is Jerry Anderson in Florida. He used to own Sperry Van Ness. SVN was president of Sperry Van Ness. Jeff Finn is there, who used to own NAI Global. So many people were past presidents of some of the large companies. And Aju, you know, right, with Jeff and all these names, because more and more of the past presidents, chairmans, and other trade groups, because we have, like FIAPSI and all those other trade groups, everyone has served their time volunteering. We've always wanted to change the U.S. Demographics, because U.S. was always residential, where the rest of FIAPSI was development and construction development projects. But U.S. was always residential mostly. So I know with me and a lot of other friends, we were trying to change and adapt it, not to get rid of the residential, but really be with what FIAPSI USA could be more commercial driven. So, I mean, I've led it before with other friends, and there's going to be more and more of those type of leaderships, Mona, in this group, like Miami Realtors, right? With TK, we sat on the board together for RPR and others. So all of this working together, let's say even with NAR, because some of the NAR presidents and I would say NAR Global are part of our Renaissance group too. Because after a while, Mona, everyone's friends with everyone. You see what I mean? And the more you volunteer like you, giving back with the women's group, our networks are so large that we just need to use technology, people we trust, so we can send referrals and also do good, right? We do want to help a lot of women causes around the world, because it's not always like the US, around the world, very different, right? So many things are different, different worlds, and it doesn't always look a certain way or act a certain way. So it is the education and sharing. But Mona, I'm glad you brought FIAPSI, because they're part of the groups that we're putting together, because everyone has just been friends with each other for decades, and it's just everyone was siloed. But now those that are retired, right, I would say 60, 70, 80, even some 90-year-olds, they just want to still do something. And what we're putting together, that they don't have to travel virtually, makes it so much easier for them to open their knowledge, connection, and relationship. But yes, we have FIAPSI national leaders, global leaders, and also country leaders.
Okay, that's good. And I got a question, please, because we are working right now on US delegation to Morocco. We are blocking the last week of April 2026. And real estate was out of it, but now that you are talking, I'm hearing this, probably we should include real estate investments
Mhm.
on that program.
I would always say yes. Talking to Morocco, I had a meeting yesterday with their executive director, and he was telling me, he is in consulting and also development from, from the farm to table kind of stuff. So the food manufacturing, processing, and distribution. And he's like, yeah,
met
I know,
with him.
real estate.
I
Yes.
met with him a few months ago in Marrakesh,
Yes.
where he is. Yes.
So Mona, yeah, absolutely. That's why when I brought this up to Doug, right? Real estate, and sometimes everyone thinks it's residential, right? It's not. It's finding the land, constructing the land, redeveloping land, repositioning land, rezoning the land. That's all commercial. And that touches, right, supply chain, different pathways. Everyone has to build their buildings and last mile and distribution. So I know Aju, you and Cyril knows this, but a lot of people around the world, and one of the largest industry now is the warehouse industrials, right? Because everyone's using tech and then the distribution channels and supply chains to move things around. So Mona, yes. However, our group, the relationships can help you with the event. That's what we're all here for. Like Ellen, with CCIM, she brought all these commercial leaders, right, Ellen? And Ellen, can you tell how many commercial trade groups are coming to CCIM?
Yeah, I think in terms of the CCM conference, there's going to be over 400 people in attendees. And in terms of the trade groups, I think we have about 7 trade groups, not only both internationally, but also locally. So we have, as I mentioned to you before, CCC, Renaissance Global, Global Chamber. We also have REIC, IIBC, and also Council of Real Estate and SIOR. So definitely lots of commercial real estate industry group leaders are going to be there. So that's the reason why I think it's going to be a great event. And then we also get to meet a lot of people coming in internationally from all these different countries, from Asia, Middle East, and also Europe, where you don't have to fly too far. You just need to fly to Vancouver, which is which is really cheap for you guys. It's only a few $100s, to fly to Vancouver now compared to when I flew down there. It costs us a little bit more because US dollar is quite strong right now. So it's one of those that you don't have to spend $1,000, $2,000 to fly to all these countries. These are the people that are flying into to be, in North America to meet with everybody. So if you do have time, like this is something that I would highly recommend, people to come and join and network. The main thing, we're trying to create that opportunity that people can meet, network, and create business opportunity. And potentially, like Mona, you just said, many people might be looking to Morocco too. So that could be something that some of the attendees would be interested. So if you have some information about that, I can also share it. Like I said, I'm always happy to share what kind of event we have coming up so that people know that there's always constantly things going on with that, with Global Chamber. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Mona, you should come. You would know so many people. I know you would.
It's cold that time. We'll see.
But well, we'll share, right? That's the good thing. And
No pressure, Mona. Like I said, I will see you in December. All right, so I'll be heading to Orlando. So
Excellent.
Yes.
Good.
James, just on your point of information, I've just shared the Cyril India report which got released today.
Thank you.
In case in your system you need to dovetail some info, let us know. At least from the India perspective, we'll be happy to share.
Perfect. No, thank you so much, Aju. And that's the thing, as we build the community, get feedback, send referrals, leads, how we can help grow Global Chamber with the people, but using the tech and getting feedback. This is going to bring the world smaller, but also as we're trying to put, systems like MLS and other protocols in countries, if we can, use best practices, and I think already with our trade groups, and this is why we're doing it, with so many of our trade groups, because there's, certification and everything else, like the CCIM, like others. I know Renaissance, many of us that have trained and taught or written the courses for other real estate groups, we're actually all coming together to write our own, to be a standard. So it's with all the different companies, all the different trade groups. I was talking to many of the instructors, NYU or UCLA or SC, and different groups that we all are talking to create this course, allowing it to be more white labeled so everyone can use it, to train, to build it. But you need the tech, the mentors, the leaders in different countries to allow people to really share the knowledge as much as we can, and then certify it so people can use the tech and everything else. So very exciting. I just want to share that. But Doug, you want any final words? I know I went a little over because we usually stop at a certain period.
No, I thought that was really important to say, and always love to hear from Mona, and hopefully there are additional ways to involve all the things that she's involved with. Brandon, in Kenya, I don't know whether you were able to get your setup arranged so that you could speak, but thank you for making the attempt. Thank you for setting up the Global Chamber Mombasa, and actually recently meeting up with our person from Pakistan and helping out there. So really appreciate that. Ruby, is there anything else that you wanted to say before we close the room? Are you available to say hi? And that's okay if you're not.
There she is.
How are you?
I'm good. Hello, everyone. Great to see you all. I really enjoyed the conversation. Just to say that I'm your go-to person when it comes to Ghana. Happy to support anyone interested in my market. Thank you.
I need to circle back with you. We have a member, TechFides, who longtime member, and they're working with the
Yes.
president of Gabon. Do you
Yes.
know Jacques?
Yeah, I know Jack and Dede.
Okay. Have you talked to them in the last few months by any chance?
Not really. It's been a while we touch base, so I'll be
Okay.
happy to reach out to them.
Yeah, could you? I spoke with him earlier today, and they have a couple of opportunities, and I think we need to get Comey involved as well.
Okay, I'll be interested to know more and
You know,
help.
it's a online job market tool that avoids the issue that many governments have in Africa of avoiding tax. I'd heard of that before, and so he's got something that he's working with the president of Gabon that is translatable across, and
Okay. The same
interesting
issue in Ghana, and our next meetup topic is on tax in Ghana as well. So
Oh, okay. Maybe he can have a chair at the table for that. That's great.
okay. All right. Thank you.
So thank you, everybody, and definitely appreciate you all being here. We look forward to the next conversation. Ellen, do you know what the topic for next week is? Anything we can get ready for, or do you want to chat between now and then?
You're muted, Ellen.
I'm sure it'll involve October 5th, which is a Sunday, by the way.
It's a Sunday, so it's going to be a nice brunch event for everybody. So yeah, for next week's topic, we'll have an international guest to come and speak about investing. I'll confirm the detail with you shortly. Doug.
Great.
Thank you.
Very good. Back to you, Jim. You want to make any closing comments?
I just
You're
want to say
amazing.
thank you, everyone. Thank you for showing up at the different time change. And we hope to use Global Chamber at different times so we can capture the rest of the world, give everyone an opportunity. But looking forward to Globy, helping everyone on their LinkedIn to polish it up, and sending referrals and leads to everyone. So again, have a great day and a great week, and looking forward to see everyone next week. Thank you, everyone.
Sounds good. Take care, all. Thanks, Jim.